In the bustling streets of Nairobi, where every day was a fight for survival, Naomi grew up watching her mother, a fruit vendor, toil endlessly to provide for their small family. The sight of her mother's calloused hands and weary eyes fueled Naomi's determination to break free from poverty. She buried herself in books, convinced that education was her ticket to a better life. After years of relentless study, she earned a degree in marketing, graduating with dreams of transforming her future. But Nairobi's job market was unforgiving. Despite her qualifications, Naomi faced rejection after rejection, her optimism eroded by a growing pile of polite but dismissive emails. Disheartened but unyielding, Naomi refused to let her dreams die. One humid evening, while sipping a cheap soda in her cramped apartment, she scrolled through social media. She noticed the frenzy surrounding energy drinks. They were everywhere, vibrant cans endorsed by athletes, promising instant vitality. An idea sparked in her mind. If she couldn't find a job, she'd create one. She'd launch her own energy drink, something bold and different, to stand out in a crowded market. With her meager savings, Naomi rented a small workspace and began experimenting. She mixed natural ingredients, guarana, ginseng, and local herbs, aiming for a unique flavor. But the early batches were lackluster, and her small-scale launch barely made a ripple against established brands. Sales were dismal, and Naomi's savings dwindled. Sleepless nights became her norm, her ambition teetering on the edge of despair. One restless night, as she stared at a failed batch, a wild thought struck her. What if the key to her drink wasn't in plants or chemicals, but in something far more primal? She recalled a childhood tale her grandmother told about life's essence being carried in blood. The idea was absurd, yet it lingered. Desperation pushed her past reason. In a moment of reckless curiosity, Naomi pricked her finger and let a single drop of blood fall into her latest mixture. She stirred it, the liquid turning a faint crimson. Hesitant, she took a sip. The effect was immediate. A surge of energy coursed through her, unlike anything she'd felt before. Her vision sharpened, her pulse quickened, and her mind buzzed with clarity. This was no placebo, it was transformative. Naomi knew she'd stumbled onto something extraordinary. She named her creation Crimson Surge and designed a sleek obsidian bottle with a blood-red logo, marketing it as the ultimate natural energy booster. Using small amounts of her own blood, carefully diluted to avoid detection, Naomi produced her first commercial batch. She sold it online and pitched it to local shops, touting its unique vitality blend. To her shock, customers went wild. Reviews flooded in, describing Crimson Surge as addictive, exhilarating, a game changer. Social media buzzed with influencers praising its effects, and within weeks, orders outstripped her ability to produce. But there was a problem. Naomi couldn't keep up. Her body couldn't supply enough blood without risking her health. Dizziness and fatigue began to haunt her, and she knew she needed a new source. That's when she met Esther, a janitor at a local blood bank with access to surplus donations. Esther, struggling to support her family, was open to a deal. For a cut of the profits, she'd supply Naomi with small, untraceable vials of blood from the bank's reserves. No questions asked. With Esther's help, Crimson Surge exploded. Stores couldn't keep it in stock, and Naomi's bank account swelled. She moved into a sleek downtown office, her days of scraping by a distant memory. But as the drink's popularity soared, so did troubling reports. Customers described more than energy. They felt alive in a way that unnerved them. Some reported strange cravings, others sleeplessness or heightened senses. A fitness trainer claimed he could run for hours without tiring. A student said colors seemed brighter after drinking it. Naomi dismissed these as exaggerations, but a knot of unease grew in her stomach. Then came the message that changed everything. A customer emailed her, frantic. "I haven't had Crimson Surge in 3 days, and I feel like I'm dying. My body aches, my head pounds. What's in this stuff?" Naomi's heart sank. This wasn't normal. Energy drinks didn't cause withdrawal like this. She began to suspect her secret ingredient was doing more than boosting energy. It was altering people. The situation escalated when a local blogger, Kofi Mwendwa, started digging. Known for his exposés on shady businesses, Kofi posted online about unexplained symptoms linked to Crimson Surge. He mentioned a blood bank worker who'd vanished after asking questions about missing vials. Naomi's blood ran cold. Esther had warned her about a curious coworker, Jacob, who'd noticed discrepancies in the blood bank's inventory before he stopped showing up to work. Naomi had paid Esther extra to keep it quiet, but now Kofi was sniffing around. Determined to protect her empire, Naomi arranged to meet Kofi at a quiet cafe. She arrived armed with charm and a plan to deflect his suspicions. "Kofi, you're chasing rumors," she said with a practiced smile. "Crimson Surge is just a drink, herbs, vitamins, nothing more." But Kofi wasn't convinced. "I've got samples being tested," he said, his voice low. "The lab found traces of something organic. Care to explain?" Naomi's pulse raced. She offered him a deal. Exclusive access to her company in exchange for dropping his investigation. "You could write about my success instead," she said, sliding a check across the table. Kofi pushed it back, his eyes hard. "I don't take bribes, Naomi. And I know Jacob didn't just quit. He was scared of you." That night, Naomi made a call she never thought she'd make. She contacted a fixer from Nairobi's underbelly, a man named Juma who handled problems for the right price. "There's a blogger," she said, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "He's about to ruin me. Make sure he doesn't." Juma didn't ask for details. "It'll cost you," he said. Naomi agreed without hesitation. Days later, Kofi's blog went silent. A brief news report mentioned a hit and run, no suspects. Naomi told herself it was necessary, but sleep eluded her. The empire she'd built was thriving, but at what cost? Customers were now hoarding Crimson Surge, some drinking it obsessively, their behavior erratic. Hospitals reported a spike in patients with unexplainable symptoms, racing hearts, heightened aggression, even hallucinations. One woman claimed she could taste the air after drinking it. Naomi faced a choice: scale back and stay under the radar, or push forward and risk exposure. Investors were circling, eager to take Crimson Surge global. The temptation of wealth and power was intoxicating, but Kofi's death weighed on her. And then there was Esther, who'd started asking for more money, hinting she knew too much. Naomi felt the walls closing in. One evening, as Naomi stared at a glowing review of Crimson Surge on her laptop, a new post caught her eye. "Crimson Surge is poison. I worked with Jacob. I know what's in it." The poster was anonymous, but the message was clear. Someone else was picking up where Kofi left off. Naomi's hands shook as she realized her secret was slipping out of her control. She had silenced one threat, but this new one could bring her empire crashing down. The question wasn't just how to stop it. It was how far she was willing to go to protect what she'd built.